Hi guys, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you're returning. I am Beauty Heathen. Today's reading is a departure of the true crime readings. I am going to be looking into the Voynich Manuscript. If you don't know what that is, it is an illustrated codex, handwritten in an otherwise unknown writing system referred to as Voynichese. The vellum on which it is written has been carbon dated to the early 15th century, so around 1404 to 1438, and stylistic analysis has indicated that it may have been composed in Italy during the Italian Renaissance. And yes, I am reading from Wikipedia. The origins, authorship, and purpose of the manuscript have been debated. Some have wondered if it is a hoax. It has been studied by professional and amateur cryptographers from around the world, even during World War I and World War II, and so far nobody has been able to agree where it came from, what it's for, or anything of that nature. I have my own theories on what it is, but I am going to hold off on saying what I believe it is, and we're going to see what comes up in the reading. So with all of that said, before I go into the reading, please note that anything that I have to say is all alleged for entertainment purposes only. I do not have any proof, evidence, fact, or anything of that nature. Anything that I may say with regards to my intuition may also include my own opinions and insight into things that others may not have knowledge of. So, with all of that said, let's get into it. Please give us insight into the Voynich Manuscript, from insight into the person responsible for it, as well as what it's for. Okay. Fulfillment. Honesty. I actually quite like this card because if you look up on Wikipedia, you can see some of the pages listed on Wikipedia of what's contained within the Voynich Manuscript. And a little side note, you can view the manuscript in its entirety from Yale University. It has all been uploaded online, so you can look at all of it. But this card is very reminiscent to some of the symbolism in the manuscript, and High Priestess of Fire next to it. The Warrior. Complicated. Yep, I think I know exactly what this is. Hope. Lust. Wishing. Reminder. Listening. And on this card is also the text, darkness does not always equate to evil, light does not always bring good. So in order to fully explain what I believe this is and why I believe it has been so unable to be deciphered, I have to give people a little bit of history, and something that people in the pagan community likely know, especially if they've done their research, but outsiders may not know. So within the pagan community, we frequently will find alphabets that aren't necessarily used anywhere else, because historically people who have been pagans or witches or spellcasters, or even not even people who are not necessarily magical practitioners, but people who may have done naturopathic medicine, have had to kind of hide our practice and hide who we are for our own safety. Some practitioners through time not only developed an alphabet that is used today even by some practitioners, but there have been alternate alphabets that may have been developed that the cipher for which has been lost to time, or may have been extremely individualistic to that particular person, so as to protect themselves, their spell casting, and anything that they wrote. I personally feel and believe that the Voynich Manuscript is likely a book of spells. Based on the imagery that I am seeing, based on the notes and some of the things that I am seeing, it very strongly reminds me of a book of spells someone might keep. And they likely had areas that might mislead people to thinking that they know what it is, hence a complicated maze-like aspect to it. But I feel that the book contains different kinds of rituals. So here we have lust, wishing, listening, the moon, intuition, fragment, breaking things up so it's less likely to be discerned. I don't recall the exact time period when the hunt for practitioners may have started in Italy, if this is in fact of Italian origin, which it may very well be, but I feel that whomever was creating this, love, was trying to hide their practice. Chaos. Because they knew that if somebody found this book and was able to actually discern what it said, who it belonged to, anything of that nature, they knew that they would more than likely be put in harm's way. They and anyone that they loved and cared about. And you see how these cards are coming out very randomly? You see the moon, fragment, love, beauty, chaos, self-worth, which I feel is more like a self-preservation, high priestess of earth, focus, strength, movement. I feel that these are all elements of things that are within the manuscript itself, trapped, but all done in a hidden way. Cycles. There may even be elements of magical symbols in there that may even potentially be there in a hidden way as well. Understanding, vision, and playful. Because the funny thing is, even as I scrolled down looking at the paints, the blue paint was ground azurite with minor traces of copper oxide. The white paint is a mixture of egg white and calcium carbonate. The green paint is tentatively characterized by copper and copper chlorine resonate, might be atacamite or some other copper chlorine compound, and analysis of the red-brown paint indicated a red ochre, which was very commonly used during those times, with a crystal phrases hematite and iron sulfide. Minor amounts of lead sulfide and palmerite are possibly present in the red-brown paint as well. You will see a common theme in magical inks. Many people who make their own magical inks will do so from crushed crystals, or will make them from natural compounds and not necessarily use store-bought or mass-manufactured inks, because those in the magical community tend to regard making your own products to lead more strength into what you're writing and keeping record of. And a lot of the elements that they are listing that have been determined through microscope or testing are all things that could have been obtained or found, especially during that time frame. A lot of the inks and paints were made from more nature-based methods, such as crystals, insects, plants. So while I know this was a much shorter reading, I also feel that it may have lent some information or knowledge that maybe people aren't necessarily aware of or knowledgeable about. So at the end of the day, I can't prove what this is. Historians can't necessarily prove what this is. I'm just going based off of my own knowledge of history as well as my own knowledge of pagan practices, history of books of spells, things of that nature. And who knows if this mystery will ever be fully solved. So, with all of that said, believe what I had to say, disbelieve what I had to say, the proof will maybe potentially eventually be found. So with all that said, and until next time, I wish you all the brightest of blessings and blessed be.